conspiracy theory that you have that hecklers and jerks at political events are arrested because of the color of their skin? That's the best definition of institutional racism.
No, that's not my definition on racism. I
did
tell you what my definition.
Give me an example of something a white man like me can do that a black man like you can't do. Because guess what? If I showed up at a DeSantis event and started heckling, I'd be kicked out and arrested.
No, you would not. No, in fact, I even have evidence.
You know how I know that's true?
You want to know? Do you want to know how I know it's true?
White suburban kids from Highland Park, and they're arrested a lot more. Let me ask you a question. How does racism contribute to black-on-black crime in Chicago? How is white people to blame for that?
Oh, actually, as a matter of fact, that's actually a whole other issue. So let's talk about, so you want to talk about intracommunal violence as it pertains to
so what does the white man have to do with that?
And that's a great thing. I love the red herring that you threw in there.
No,
because, intracommunal violence is proximal, right? So when we have segregation and we got races sitting in one area and you got another race in another area. Now, we never ask white people, why is white on white crime so high with white people, and but instead we focus on black people.
Yeah, so out of the 530 murders in Chicago of the last year, how many were black on black crime?
Hey, I wasn't looking. But you know what I do know?
Well over 420 of them were black on black gang-related crimes. How is that racism to blame for that?
Let's talk. So now, are we going to talk about over-policing?
I'm sorry, sir. You're kind of demonstrating. You can't answer the question.
Would you like to talk about? I mean, we can talk about it. We can. Okay. Are you ready to address it, though?
Well,
are you ready to address it?
Yeah.
Because we can talk about black on black crime, but we need to talk about it as it pertains. We need to. Okay, let's talk about it, sis. I'm ready to talk about it.
All right, hold on. So let me just
narrow
this down. So let me just say this, okay?
All right.
So if you were to rank the 100 biggest problems in America, the fact that I know we're not a racist country is the best example you have.
So you know we're not a
story of you getting
country
kicked out of a DeSantis rally. If we were a racist country, you'd say, Charlie, I can't go in a convenience store. Charlie, I can't go into school. No, we actually live in such a amazingly decent country that whoa. Let's not do that, okay?
Is that I believe you said that the Civil Rights Act was bad and that we shouldn't have that?
Okay, well...
thank you. I appreciate that. I don't like you as much as Charlie, though.
First of all, what's your name?
Sorry. I don't want to be, like, filmed and stuff.
Too late.
I'm anonymous, number one. Anonymous guy.
I believe in part of the essence of the Civil Rights Act went way too far, way too wide.
Oh, how did it go too far?
Well, for example, it created an entire civil rights leviathan that gave us affirmative action.
Civil rights leviathan? What do you mean?
Yeah, so if you can let me finish three words in.
Sorry.
It allowed the Department of Justice to go after people that have different skin color, a.k.a. white people, and prevent them from getting jobs in college admissions.
You have a job.
I'm sorry?
You have a job.
No, you're right, I do. Right, but just until Trump came around, until the Supreme Court decision, thanks to the Civil Rights Act, if you have white skin color, it's much harder to get into a college than if someone has black skin color. Much harder. You have to get higher test scores. It's a much harder pool, largely thanks to the precedent set by the Civil Rights Act. Not to mention all the trans stuff that we're seeing. We're seeing men be able to win trophies and medals from women across the country, and they use the Civil Rights Act to justify it.
Okay, I think I see where you're coming from. So you think that it's harder for white people because black people they could have lower tech scores and get them?
It's not what I think. It's the fact.
That's what you're saying. Okay. All right. Well, I guess what I would say too. I think perhaps you're familiar with the term equity, right? Where different people have different circumstances.
It's Marxism. I reject.
Okay. Well, whether you reject it or not, I think it's a prescient concept in this argument. Because what you have to understand is that when for example, you're born in like a black neighborhood, you're born in like O Block or something, like a very, very, like a. Oh, you don't know what O Block is? Oh. Well, if you're born there, if you're born in a very poor area like that, with like very low economic opportunity, very, very poor schools with very low ratings, where the average test score is much lower, when you're in that environment, you have the whole system up against you, right? So when you say in that kind of circumstance, when you're facing the whole, I guess, leviathan of systemic racism, would you say that? Sorry, let me just finish it. When you say it's fair to, for example, lower the standard because knowing that their circumstances were like that, perhaps based on what they had, what was presented to them, they had the correct amount of merit to get into a school.
Okay, so are you a student here? I'm guessing you are.
Oh, yeah, I'm a student here.
Are you a pretty good student?
Oh, yeah, I would say I'm a good student. I have a pretty high GPA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give your GPA to her because she's a woman of color, please?
Oh, well, you want me to give you a... I mean, I can.
Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, sure.
You cool with that?
Yeah,
So,
I'm fine. Wait, you mean
I want you.
like tell her or like
no,
give it to her?
by force.
Like
So
we're swapping it.
Let me tell you what I'm going to
Okay.
do. By force, white man.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to take your GPA. I'm going to give it to a woman of color.
Okay.
You're cool with that?
I mean, yeah, I can just work back up. Like, I mean,
there's no working
hey,
back
bro,
up.
I can pull myself up by my bootstraps.
No,
What do
there's
you
no
mean?
working back up.
What do you mean you can't work back up? That's the whole point of conservatism,
I'm
isn't it?
going to keep on taking it from you because that's equity.
Yeah.
And you're cool with that.
What? But that's not
this is equity in practice.
Equity isn't taking. Equity is applying the equal standard.
If you give, how do you get? You must take, and then you give.
Wait, what do you mean?
Do or do not. There is no try.
That which is given must first be taken.
Well, what's being taken?
Well, in this case, grades from you to grades to her.
No one's taking my grades though. That's not what affirmative
it's
action
called,
is.
well, hold on a
No one
second.
takes your grades.
Hold on a second. If you only have so many, you only have so many positions at University of South Florida, right? There's a set number. Let's say it's 20,000 people, okay? And we're gonna say we're gonna lower the test standards so that somebody that's a woman of color can come in, and therefore it's harder for you. So it's a higher bar for you, lower bar for them. Definitionally, that's a redistribution of test scores to somebody else, just by the definition. And you're okay with that?
Well, I guess I would ask then, if we were to do what you're doing, well, black people aren't going to get into school, and then they won't be able to uplift themselves, they won't be able to have prosperous families, they won't be able to, equalize the economic status, because you need to give them a little jump start. You know what?
How has that worked the last 40 years? We've had robust affirmative action.
No.
We've had hiring practices. Has it made black America more successful?
I can answer that easily. It's because what happened is, even after the Civil Rights Act, you know what I believe the term is massive resistance. It was a movement in after the Brown versus Board of Education in Virginia, where essentially the legislature, which was still white supremacist, which is still extremely racist, they decided that no, we're going to do everything that feasibly possible within our means to stop black people from going to white schools. You even see this in I believe it was the Little Rock Nine, right? Even after it was legalized at the state level, white supremacist mobs still mobilized to prevent it. So even if it de facto it's gone, de jure it still exists.
Let me ask you a very simple question. A term you keep on throwing around.
Got you.
What is racism?
It's discrimination.
Based on the color of the skin.
Based on the color of the skin, yeah.
Got it, thank you. So isn't it racist then to penalize white people to come into college or to get jobs based on the color of their skin?
Well, no.
Wouldn't that be racist? You're arguing for a very racist policy, which is that we should actively discriminate against people based on the color of their skin, which is affirmative action and DEI in practice.
I just disagree with the premise that you can do like anti-white racism because
Wait, can you be racist against white people?
Okay.
So let me tell you what we believe, because you tell us what you believe.
Okay.
Your worldview is indistinguishable from the KKK. That you want to organize the world based on skin color. We want to organize the world based on merit and character, based on how hard you work, what you bring to the table. I believe it's destructive and wrong to say that people are going to be organized or have their future set based on the color of their skin. I think it's tribalistic. I think it is divisive, and I think it hurts the excellence of a country. You asked a question, well, how are we going to help other communities? You know how you help other communities? Stop pandering to them and start treating them like individuals made in the image of God, not tribes to be organized for political purposes.
So do you think like when Trump is now he's president, now that racism is gone now because Trump is back and we're no longer pandering, right? Do you think that the conditions of black people do you think O Block is going to become like a much nicer place? Do you think that these very downturned sort of black neighborhoods that have been sort of left behind, do you think they're going to become revitalized now? Is that what you think is going to happen?
Yeah, they'll do better for sure.
You think they're going to do better? Now that we've stopped helping them, they're going to do better.
Well, see, that's an interesting thing.
Because that seems like contradictory to me, just on basic logic.
Well, actually, black Americans under Donald Trump in the first term saw the greatest economic renaissance that they saw since the 1950s.
Do you want them? They seem
Affirmative
pretty
action
related.
is, again...
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, you are. That's okay.
I'm sorry.
Affirmative action is largely federal government hiring practices and the adjacent institutions. I think that all communities will do even better when we stop living under the soft bigotry of low expectations. Inherent in your argument is that we have to pander to certain communities based on the color of their skin because they can't do as well as white people. I reject the premise. I think that we should try to say, I don't care about the color of your skin. I care about what you bring to the table. And stop pandering to people based on special criteria, points, and acceptance to college, saying that we're going to make it easier for one group and harder for another group.
I don't think it's pandering, though. I think it's understanding.
Okay, but let me...
Understanding
do you
the
think
respective
that
circumstances and working based on that.
Do you think that we should have black-only dormitories in America?
No, why would I want that?
Okay, well, there's hundreds of schools that have those, actually.
What do you mean?